Hello, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be sharing information with you regarding the failed assassination attempt of former sitting President Donald Trump. The information that you're going to see on this video today, I will be sharing with the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, the Biden administration, as well as the Trump party. Days prior to the failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump, the people who were behind it sent me a cryptic message alluding to something like this could happen. They did not say exactly what would happen, but they sent a cryptic message stating that something like this could happen and would happen. The exact details of that message I will be sharing with the agencies that I mentioned prior. The people who are behind this hacked my devices, were monitoring me for a very long time. Now, I'll get into the specifics later, but it had got so out of hand that prior to this, almost a year ago, I sent off a complaint to the FBI, as well as the Department of Justice and my local congressman about the cyber attacks and the hacking that had been going on with me and my devices. Those same people who were hacked into my devices sent me a cryptic message stating that this assassination of Donald Trump could quite possibly happen. They didn't say exactly it was going to be an assassination attempt, but looking back now, they were alluding to just that. It was a cryptic message sent to me, personally, sent to me, just days prior to the attack on Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to let the information play on the failed attack on Donald Trump, but it has already started that the information has already been put out is that the people or the person behind this was a lone gunman. The information I'm going to put together for you today may make you question that. And the information I'm going to give you here, I'm going to be also sharing with the authorities to help them in the investigation into finding out who were the unseen people behind this attack on America, as well as the former sitting President Donald Trump. I'm going to let this play.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something to say, take a look what happened.
just days after that shooting, we get a quick response from sitting President Joe Biden, and a much needed response about controlling the temperature and putting a lid on some of the division in the country that we are seeing right now. Joe Biden came in and delivered a beautiful speech. Like I said before, a much needed speech. Now I'm going to let Joe speak here in this video. I'm going to let this play in its entirety.
When you spoke to President Trump,
Because if they do one
Ken,
thing,
I'm gonna
they
interrupt
take
you.
the high
I'm so
ground.
sorry, but President Biden is out with his Vice President Kamala Harris and the Attorney General Eric Garland, including Secretary Mayorkas, the head of DHS, who's in charge of Secret Service. Let's listen.
I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering. And we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired. And he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence, or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change. But we're going to not lose sight of the fact who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the F.B.I., the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The F.B.I. is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and the partner agencies do their job.
I'm going to pause it right there. President Joe Biden made a very big statement there. Let's not make assumptions. Let's let the FBI, let these agencies do their job. Now, the information that you're going to see in this video, I'm going to be assisting them in doing their job. You heard Mr. Biden, President Biden, say, we don't know the motives behind this individual on what made him do this. Today, as I'm going to continue to let this play, I'm going to share with you what quite possibly could be the motive and why he did what he did. And how this thing was put together. This is not something that a lone gunman would do or have the capability of doing. How some of these things were lined up with this individual, with this shooter. Now I'm going to continue to let this play, but like I said before, the motive and or why this shooter did this, I may be able to bring some light on why he did what he did.
I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. and I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened, and we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
I'm going to stop that there. But that was a beautiful speech by President Biden, and a much needed one. Now, it seems as though we have all the agencies investigating this. Now, I personally have put together enough information where I could possibly solve this whole failed assassination attempt and make you see this from a different perspective through the eyes of a killer on what made him do what he did. A lot of times these agencies are familiar with, how these occultists work, how these spiritualists work. These people, these groups, they move in the shadows. They are trained not to be seen. But today, I'm going to shed some light on it. Now, already there has been talk and eyebrows being raised up about some of the inconsistencies that have been shown leading up to the failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump, and some of the things that happened afterwards, after this failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Now I'm going to let this play. This is a BBC clip talking about some of the things I'm talking about right now.
In the minutes before this happened, those shots were fired at 6:11 p.m. on Saturday by a man on this roof. He was 130 meters away from the stage where Donald Trump was speaking. The US Homeland Security Secretary has said a direct line of sight like that to the former president should not occur. But not only was there a direct line of sight, there were warnings about a possible threat. This video's emerged. It's from 1 minute 45 seconds before the attack.
Yeah, look, there he is.
In this clip, people have noticed a man on a roof. They're shouting to an officer. It's confirmation some police knew about the threat close to 2 minutes before the attack. Then this video, filmed by a spectator inside the rally, shows the seconds before the attack. We see a person running, apparently aware there's an issue. That adds to this video, filmed at 6:10 p.m., which shows a man and what appears to be a police officer looking at the buildings. And there's this account.
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. And the police were like, oh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on.
Given these warnings, in those 2 minutes, why wasn't Donald Trump taken off stage? Why wasn't the man on the roof challenged? We've now heard from County Sheriff Michael Sloop. His local police were present. He says the attacker was seen outside the rally venue before Trump started speaking and was identified as a suspicious person. He also says that officers didn't know he was armed and that they momentarily lost track of him. Sheriff Sloop also says that later, with the speech underway, an officer checked the roof of this building.
The officer had both hands up on the roof to get up onto the roof, never made it because the shooter had turned towards the officer, and rightfully and smartfully, the officer let go.
Shots were fired at Trump shortly afterwards, the sheriff says. It's not clear how much the Secret Service knew about all of this at the time, but evidence now shows that close to 2 minutes of clear warnings didn't lead to the attack being stopped.
I'm going to leave that there. But the director of the FBI, director of the CIA, came right back and sent off this message.
From hard hats to steel-toed boots, Granger's got your safety needs covered, literally.
We are investigating this as an assassination attempt, but also looking at it as a potential domestic terrorism act. So our counterterrorism division and our...
I'm gonna pause right there. They are looking at this as a domestic terrorist act. A domestic terrorist act. Now, the country is in a heightened alert status. We have every agency in the United States government swarming in to try to get a complete picture on what just happened in Pennsylvania involving a former sitting president. Now, I'm telling you today, as I put this information together for you, this information will be going to all of those agencies, and I'm stating right here that the people who were behind this failed ritual killing of Donald Trump contacted me, sent me a cryptic message alluding to something like this could happen. I have sent off prior to this, months prior, I sent off messages to the FBI, the Department of Justice, to my local congressman, alluding to and stating that someone has been monitoring me and hacking my devices. Now, I'll continue to let this play, but now keep this in mind, I've never met the individual, the shooter, or any of the people involved in this. Never met them, don't know who they are. But the reason why I think they got they knew about me, what made them come across me was the spiritual work that I was doing on exposing some of the things that I was noticing inside the government, or what I like to call the shadow government, who were using occult tactics on American citizens. Now, I'm going to continue to let this play.
Criminal divisions are working jointly together to determine the motive in this case.
I want to reiterate that the violence that we saw yesterday is an attack on our democracy itself. Justice Department has no tolerance for such violence, and as Americans, we must have no tolerance for it. This must stop.
The American people can rest assured that we will leave no stone unturned as we work to get to the bottom of what happened yesterday.
You heard that from the FBI director. They're looking for a motive. Now, I'm going to continue to let this play. I'm going to show you the motive. This is me here during the Great American Eclipse, where I was bringing attention to the assassination of sitting President Kennedy and his brother, a sitting senator, Bobby Kennedy, who were both assassinated by the same type of people that you saw try and kill former sitting President Donald Trump. they were intending for the same fate that happened to the Kennedy brothers. They intended for the same fate to happen to Donald Trump. Videos like this and others got the attention of these occultists with me. I've done numerous videos exposing these people and what they do and their mindset. This is what got their attention on me. Now I'm going to continue with this play. And remember, this was during the Great American Eclipse that happened on April 8th. I was in Dealey, Texas, bringing attention to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. I'm going to let this play.
American circumstances. There have been committees, there have been different bills passed to get all the information released when dealing with the deaths of these two brothers. And 60 years to the date, we still haven't got a complete story. All the information has not been released regarding a former sitting president who was assassinated, and less than 5 years later, his brother, a sitting U.S. senator, was killed. This happened in North America, the great and mighty United States of America, and we still can't get a complete story or get all the information regarding the culprits on who did this to these two great men. Yes, I mean two great men. Remember, right after John F. Kennedy was shot, his brother Bobby never stopped his war on organized crime here in America. And he was killed for it. He knew what was at stake. He literally saw his brother killed. And he still did not stop his fight. It empowered him. It empowered him. He was a U.S. senator on his way to being president. They killed him before he could become U.S. president. And the people who killed his brother, if Bobby would have made it to the White House, more than likely, with great certainty, they would have tried to assassinate him or succeeded the same way they did Kennedy. As you see me standing right here behind the location of where he was shot in Dealey Plaza. And we still today, 60 years later, have not got a complete story and the release of every single document relating to these brothers' deaths is a disgrace to anyone who's ever held the title of president in this country, because if it can happen to them, it can happen to you. Senator, president, judge, it doesn't matter, because the people who move like this, who move in the dark, they're still living to this day because it's the mindset that does this. As long as there isn't transparency, and as long as these people are able to move in the dark, they'll continue to move like this if you don't play ball with them in this country. I myself have came across the same mindset in this country as I move around this country, and the more I get and I look at history, the more I talk like this, the more I inform myself on some of the things that Robert and Bobby were confronting back in their time 60 years ago today. From today, it has done nothing but get worse.
I'm gonna leave it at that. It has done nothing but get worse. The same individuals, the same mindset that attacked the Kennedy brothers, a former sitting president, and a sitting U.S. senator were gunned down by, let me hear this, hear this by a lone gunman. This is the same playbook that they keep playing over and over and over. Go back to this video where I was talking about the Kennedy brothers. I stated that we still haven't gotten a complete release of all the information involving their killings, their assassination. And I said then, by us moving in this matter and keeping the information in the dark and not finding out who is behind these things, the only thing we're doing is teaching the future on how to get away with things like this. And then here we have this thing popping up again with a failed assassination attempt, ritual killing of Donald Trump. It was videos like this that got these occultists or these spiritualists, evil men. Because I don't want to put, all spiritualists in some type of group as evil men. This particular group were moving in the dark and doing a type of ritual that involved Donald Trump. This is the motive. This is what they were trying to do. They came across me because of videos like this and the work I was doing on exposing them. Now I'm going to continue to let this play. The shooter. Now we're going to get into the mindset on what made this individual or the individuals behind this do what they did. This is looking at this through the eyes of a spiritualist or an occultist who was trying to do a ritual killing on former President Donald Trump. This is the motive. This is what the F.B.I., the C.I.A., Homeland Security, the White House, they're looking for motive. I'm going to show you what they were trying to do and what they failed at miserably. The birthplace of the lone gunman was in Bethel, Pennsylvania. Bethel means the house of God. The gentleman, Matthew Thomas Crooks. Matthew means in biblical, this is all can be looked up on your search engine. Gift of God. Thomas meaning twin or duality. They were putting together a type of let's just call it spiritual message, putting these things in a box to do a type of ritual. This is what a ritual looks like. This is what some of the things that are done in the dark, this is what it's looked like when it's exposed. This is what spiritual work looks like. This is what they were trying to do. They were sending off messages, sending off synchronicities, and using it in a type of in an evil manner. Now, looking at his name, the people involved in this were now I can get back into all the reasons why they were doing it this way, but look at this here. This is the symbol for yin and yang. This is the definition of it. It represents mankind's struggle between good and evil. yin and yang describes two complementary forces. Yin and yang is a lot of times represented by the number 6-9. As you can see, a 6-9, when you flip it up and down, you're getting this symbol. Numerically, it can be shown as the yin and yang symbol. The date of that eclipse that you saw me in prior, where I was in Dallas, Texas, at Dealey Plaza, to bring attention to the assassination of John F. Kennedy and his brother, Robert and his brother Bobby, or John F. Kennedy, the Kennedy brothers, to bring attention to their assassinations. That date, the date of that eclipse, was 96 days from the failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Now, the reason why they picked that date is because spiritually, you know, a lot of occultists, they look at these signs in the skies like eclipses, blood moons, these astrological events. They are highly spiritual moments in the eyes of occultists, and not just in occultists. No matter what book you're in, no matter what religion you're in, the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, all of them bring attention to signs in the sky, or these, especially eclipses. Jesus is associated with an eclipse. Moses is associated with an eclipse. Muhammad is associated with an eclipse. And during that eclipse, April 8th, it was the birthday of Buddha. So, and during that eclipse, I mentioned all of this. Now, these occultists, they were using some of the things that I talked about in the videos to do a type of ritual which involved Donald Trump, who was born on a blood moon. What I'm talking about here today, that I'm going to be sending over to the agencies, the F.B.I., Homeland Security, Department of Justice, this is the motive right here. It was a ritual killing. This is your motive. Keep this in mind. The shooter, the people behind it, they didn't come in contact with Donald Trump. They don't have business with him or anything like that. But what they were doing was a type of ritual killing. Or someone was trying to make it look like that. I'll say that. Happened 96 days after that eclipse. Now, here's some other interesting facts about Donald Trump and that 6-9 or that 96 or that yin and yang. This is you're looking at the motive. Now, the same information I'm going to share with you here today is the same type of information these occultists and these spiritualists were using when they were coming up with this ritual which involved Donald Trump. I'm going to let this play out here.
Jump right into the first coincidence. So Donald Trump was born on a blood moon. Alright, so let's go over this further. So Donald John Trump, his full name, was born on June 14th, 1946 at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center in Queens, New York City in USA. And I mean, it's a called note. If you break these down into their numbers, so June 14th, 1946, it's going to be 6/14/1946. If you add all these up, you get 6 plus 14 plus 1946, you get 1966. And this, my OneNote thingy has a built-in calculator for space. Automatically count, that's 1966. And if you rotate the 9, you get a 6, so you get base 9, 1966, flipped up.
Now, you can take a quick screenshot of that. You're seeing all the 6-9 and the 9-6 numbers associated with Donald Trump. Now, you add that in with him being born on a blood moon. some occultists, some spiritualists were looking at this and was using Donald Trump's information along with the eclipse where I was which is a highly spiritual day when dealing with in religion, the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, doesn't matter, as well as these spiritualists and occultists. They were piggybacking off of that eclipse date and inserted Donald Trump into that. They lined everything up. They were, it looks like, you know, me just looking at it, they were trying to send a message off to God. In their mind, they were. I don't know. I can't get into the mind of these people. But just look at the information. You're seeing a motive here. This is what they were trying to do. This is the mindset of these occultists and these spiritualists. Okay, I've been exposing these people for close to a decade. These people have been monitoring me probably for quite longer than that, looking at some of the spiritual work that I was doing, and was using some of the stuff that I was doing and others, and using it for evil purposes. And you're getting a look at what they were looking at and what they were trying to do. Now I'm gonna show you something else here. You can look at the information you just saw on this. Donald Trump's birthday, everything that was in that previous video. You know, it's like, a lot of times you have to fact check this stuff. You have to fact check it. And everything he said in there, Donald Trump's birthday, Donald was born on a blood moon. And you're getting an idea of the inner thinkings of these people. Now, they'll have you believing that it was this gentleman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old, was responsible for the killing, the failed assassination of Donald Trump.
Here are the facts we've been working to verify. Thomas Crooks. Crooks graduated from Bethel Park High School in 2022, earning a $500 prize for math and science. This video from the school's YouTube shows him receiving his diploma.
Now, keep this in mind. He was highly gifted in math and science. Numbers. He would have looked at this stuff and flipped it and tried to see something that wasn't there, you know, and me just doing some information on him, getting some quick search on him and his personality. It seems as though he was bullied in school. You know, he seems like a highly intelligent person, and he was around guns a lot. You know, and it looks like he used some of his training in math and science to cook up some of this stuff that you're seeing with these numbers. And he used his gun background, which led him to go and try to make a failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to tell you this way.
Rumors of how Crooks identified on the political scale are unclear. Here's why. We verified that he donated $15 to a liberal campaign group on January 20th, 2021, the first day President Biden took office. But 8 months later, he registered to vote as a Republican. Looking into political court records in Pennsylvania, there have been no past adult criminal cases involving Crooks. The Associated Press says he was not previously known to investigators in his county and was not on their radar.
Look, I'm going to stop that there, but let me show you something about this gentleman's name. Crooks. The same way we did earlier, where we looked at Donald Trump and the 6'9" or the 9'6" and the yin and yang. If you look at his name, Crooks, I told you his first name, Matthew, means the gift of God. Thomas means twin. He was from Bethel, Pennsylvania, which means house of God. Remember his middle name twin, which meaning duality, which also you can look at it as yin and yang. And yin and yang is represented numerically by 9-6 or 6-9. If you're looking at his name, Crooks, you're saying C-R-O-O-K-S. The C is a 3, R is an 18. You break it down, that's a 9. O is it's the 15th letter. You break that down, you get a 6. O again, it's a 6, 2 and 1. You're saying the 9-6 pop up in his name. This is what a spiritualist or an occultist, this is how they see things. This is what they look at. They were using this gentleman to do a spiritual ritual, an occult ritual. This is what it looks like, right here. The information that you're seeing here play with you today, all this can be verified. All of it. I'll be sharing this, like I said before, with the F.B.I., the C.I.A., Homeland Security, to help them with the motive. Now, what made this group or the individuals involved with the killing of Donald Trump, what got their attention with me was me exposing what they were doing when doing videos like this. This is what it looks like. This is the mindset of these people, these occultists. I've been exposing these people, these shadowy groups, for close to a decade. And because of the work that I've been doing, they have been monitoring me, observing me, to the point where I had to go and make complaints to the F.B.I., the Department of Justice, and to my local congressman. Leading up to the failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump, like I said before, which I'm going to call a failed ritual killing of Donald Trump. These people leading up to this failed ritual killing sent me a cryptic message alluding to something like this could happen. Now we get to get a view behind the mindset of those who think like this and bring it to light. Like I said in the previous video, if you don't have transparency in matters like this, the only thing you're doing is teaching the future on how to get away with murder, to the point that they'll be so emboldened to do an attack on a former sitting president. What happened to the Kennedy brothers, they wanted the same thing to happen to Donald Trump. I'll leave it at that. Good day.